Hi, I'm Mars, and I'm being forced to watch Twin Peaks.
And I'm Dade, and I'm being forced to make a podcast. Yeah, kick my feet.
Kick My Feet, episode 2. We did it.
Woo!
We
Episode
f-
2.
okay, so I don't remember. I just watched this episode. I need a refresher on
So
just
that's the
anything.
thing about this is in episode 1, I kind of touched on a little bit of these do not really have uh, like episodic plots. So remembering it is going to be a little hard, and also doing plot summaries is going to be a little hard. So if for some reason you're on episode 2 of this, if you haven't watched the show all the way through, I highly recommend it. Go watch that, because otherwise I don't think it'll be as fun, and also you get spoiled a lot. But we will touch up a little bit what happens during the episode, like plot wise, I guess.
Yeah, where do you want to start with this one? I'm kind of curious where your notes
That's
begin.
a good question. It actually starts literally at the beginning.
Oh, nice.
The first shot we get is with Dale Cooper in his hotel. And yeah, we're just jumping to this bitch. He starts it out with doing exercises. He's upside down talking to Diane.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Um,
He's completely upside down in this, like, space boot contraption.
yeah, exactly. He's doing some sort of meditation exercise thing and just basically going over the details and what he's going to do for the day. But then this is where my first note comes in. He hops down, he gets in position, and he goes, "Now, Diane, I'm talking to you not as a FBI agent, but as a fellow citizen. Who really did kill JFK, and what was the relationship between Marilyn Monroe and the Kennedys?"
By the way, that scene in particular, I love the way he milks it though, where he's like, I'm not saying this as a member of the bureau. He like really, it's like a good like 15-second introduction to what he's about to say, and then just who really killed the Kennedys?
Like, he makes it sound so dramatic. Because again, if you don't know this guy, you're like, "Oh, he's an FBI agent. I bet he's going to say something serious." Nah.
Or relating to the case.
Yeah, exactly. It almost sounded like he was just trying to get done with the notes just so he could talk about that at the end. Say, anyways, yeah, the blah blah blah, this and that. But really, who did kill JFK? Also, you made a funny joke during this, which was the idea of Diane somewhere not being able to go home early because she has to sit down and listen to all these tapes.
I have to transcribe them. He's been giving them to me all day, and he's like, I would be so pissed. I think specifically it was like what got me going was like I would be so pissed if I had been making notes and like things that I need to do tomorrow at the end of my shift, and then he drags it out for that last bit with the Kennedys. I would be like, fuck you.
Fuck this guy. I just want to go home.
I still have to go cook dinner or something. Like this bastard.
So we start off with Dale here, and then we see him in the kitchen or in the dining area of the hotel, and we get what is maybe known as the most recognizable scene from the entire show. Do you know the scene I'm talking about?
Yes, I do. Yes, I do.
Um, I I don't like recapping too much, but I will recap this one because it is
I
the
mean, how
most
could you
iconic
not?
part. Dale orders a cup of coffee, and as the waitress drops it off and starts to walk away, he stops her and he goes, "Hold on one sec." And he takes the coffee, smells it, and then takes a good swig of it before replying, "Excuse, excuse me, a damn fine cup of coffee." And
Yeah.
then the waitress smiles and walks away.
I love everything about him. He's so predictable, but he's so unpredictable. Like
It's like he just loves a good cup of coffee, you know?
I think what it is with Dale Cooper that I like so much is you're always waiting for him to be serious. And it's always funny when he's not. Because he's clearly thinking about such big concepts all the time. Like, I mean, he's mulling over this case in his head, but he's also thinking about the Kennedy assassination, like Who is this guy?
He's just rattling around in his head, and it kind of makes sense because people have said in like the production team that Cooper is kind of modeled after Lynch a bit.
Oh yeah, you think?
Yeah, very very obviously, but I specifically think it's that whole like just random questions going on in his head.
He's always got the next thing. He's always got something fresh.
Something bigger at large, and also could a little bit of a reflection, I guess, if you really want to dig notes, is David Lynch, I think, ate the same meals for like 7 years of his life or something long like that.
What?
Yeah, he had the same lunch and dinner, except when traveling. This is what he said. But he'll have the same lunch and dinner. I forget specifically what it is, but he says that he does it so that he has to think about stuff less.
You know, as you were explaining
More
that to
time for
me,
ideas.
I was kind of thinking to myself, like, you know what? Actually, that's not a bad idea. Like, you have a set meal schedule. Like, I wouldn't do something as insane as the same thing every day, but just like a weekly schedule. I can see that working.
Surprisingly, a lot of people, at least a lot of like big CEOs, do that. Like Mark Zuckerberg with his T-shirts and Steve Jobs with his clothes. It's like there's a term for it, but it's basically the idea of it is if you have less big decisions happening in your life personally, it makes it easier to make big decisions and ideas for like your work or creative life.
Wouldn't that like piss you off? Now we're just talking about philosophy, but wouldn't that just piss you off if it was like it gets disrupted? I don't know. That would get under my skin if it was like,
If that
oh,
gets disrupted,
I didn't get to have my steak and eggs.
it's maybe it's just like a if it's there you do that, but if you don't have that, then you just do something else.
Do you think Dale Cooper would do that? I mean, he is
I feel like he
based off
kind
of
of does that
Lynch.
in a way.
Does he?
Because like a lot of his meals are kind of just some food, cherry pie, and coffee.
That's fair. He's more like he likes to snack.
He likes snack, and you'll see him. This is not his last cup of coffee. I'll say spoiler. He drinks more coffee.
I could take it. Look, if this guy is impressed by the coffee and the accommodations, he's never gonna shut up about it.
Exactly. I need your help on this next note.
Okay, curious.
It says cremated.
Oh, do you
Why
remember?
did I write down cremated?
Okay,
I think
it's my
it's because.
favorite line in this episode.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
It's 100% my favorite line in the episode.
Oh yeah, you wanted to clip this.
Yeah, okay, so yeah, we briefly talked about this, and I realize it's a bad idea now after the fact, but
After the rush ran through you.
after the rush. But Dale Cooper in that same scene, I think he orders breakfast when he gets his coffee, and he does that whole thing with the coffee, and then he stops her one more time, and he's like, and that bacon, I want you to cook it, I want you to burn it, cremate it.
Cremated.
And then and that like him going cremated made me want to clip that whole scene and just make people watch it. Which honestly, if you can find a clip of that, I don't know if there is a clip online. I should probably look for one. Totally seek that out because that is so funny. Like it's a funny that's attached to an iconic scene. Like I like that it just keeps going into being funny and iconic to me.
It's just so good. The only reason we decided against adding a clip segment was it was already enough work doing the things we normally do.
Yeah.
But just know for a second we thought about adding that cremate scene.
But if I can find and or make a live laugh love sign that just says like cook it, burn it, cremate it or something, you damn well expect that to be on the podcast set.
My favorite Daft Punk song. Burn it, cremate it, cook it.
Cook it, burn it, cremate. Cremate doesn't work. Oh well.
Next on the list is I wrote more donuts. I'm assuming we get more donuts at the. Oh yeah, there's like a shit ton of donuts at the Twin Peaks Police Department like, when they get there.
And they're like not even in a convenient room. They're like in the printer room, and they're like all stacked
scattered about. They're like everywhere.
It's almost I feel like again, it feels like we're in the middle of the show because it's like I feel like this was a gag that was supposed to build up over like 20 episodes, but they just did it in 2. They're like, oh, there's some donuts. Now there's all donuts.
And there's just a shit ton of fucking donuts here.
And two, the whole episode, everyone is eating donuts. Like everyone, if you are in the police station, you have a donut in your hand and you look like a chump while somebody is talking to you about like a murder case.
Ironically, I think the only person who doesn't eat a donut is Cooper.
I was
and
gonna
he's the one
say,
who requested it.
yeah, because he's so busy trying to solve this murder, and everyone else is just like, it's crazy last night, that bar fight.
Fucking Harry's just sitting there chomping on a donut. Like,
I love that scene where it's Harry and Ed, and they're like talking about their personal lives and stuff, and like the whole time, I forget what Dale's doing in this moment.
Ed comes to pick up Bobby, by the way, for the viewers.
Oh yeah, or
no, he picks up James.
James, I was gonna say. Oh, and then I don't know if you got this in your notes and you want to wait, but there's a whole little thing with that. That was pretty cool.
With James and Ed.
Yeah, with James and Ed, you learn a little something about them.
I think that's next on the list, probably. So we could talk about that. I don't know what you're talking about, to be honest.
Well, there's a scene where James is like, because James realizes that those two are the two boys. I forget their name, Bobby and something else. Ace.
Bob. Oh, we just remembered. We just saw the episode too, and I like intentionally try to remember that guy's name because I can never remember a dumb
white boy name.
It's like a nickname. It's like the Beast or something. I don't know. Something stupid.
Yeah, the jock and the other jock, Bobby. Yeah, they want to beat the tar out of James because they know what's going on, and I think also
they know James is smacking with Donna.
Yeah, it's getting ugly, and James like has to like. He talks to Ed and they like organize like a biker protection system for him. Like they're like, we got to call the boys or something. Like they're going to call specific people to help out with the problem. And that was just like, oh, Ed's in on the crime too. Like Ed's got like a thing. And then that makes me wonder like, oh, what's going on with, James's mom? Because she's always out of town, but like, what is she out of town for?
Exactly. It thickens.
Oh, and
everything thickens.
I love a show that's like you just learn a little detail and it like expands the world. Those are my favorite things to like learn about, or like it's like hearing gossip. You're like, oh wait, that means oh no, and that means oh no.
This show is, for all intents and purposes, a soap opera,
and that's amazing.
What makes it so much fun. Is that it's like the most surreal soap opera ever, but it doesn't like try to look down on the idea of soap opera. It fully gives into it.
This show holds up. Who would have thought?
Who'd have thunk it? So while that's happening, there's two things to talk about. I don't know if this happens during that part that we're talking about. Maybe you can help me. I wrote down, wow, I don't remember a lot. I said James Vision, weird writing.
James Vision, weird writing.
We can skip this if you don't remember that.
I'm genuinely curious. When did James... I don't know.
I don't know if he had a vision or if it was like...
Oh,
something was through. Oh, this was the scene where it was James and Laura, and they're together. We're making a joke about. We made a joke because James was remembering Laura and how they're like so in love and stuff. And it was like this really serious scene that just happened, and then it cuts to like a flashback of James talking with Laura, and they're like, "I love you, James."
Yeah, it's like the worst writing in the show so far.
Yeah, that's why I wrote weird writing, because it was like, because he was like, "You're my favorite gift ever, babe," and we like had the idea that this was all through James's like lens. That's why it's really dumb and corny.
It's how he remembered. Like realistically, it was like, "I love you." Oh, I love you too, and that was it. But like to him, it was like, "Oh, you're like the star and the moon.
You're like every star. I'll count it up plus 10.
I love you."
James is so fucking corny. It's so funny.
I like him. He always looks like he's about to cry. Like it looks like you're about to say something. You're gonna say something to him and it's gonna really hurt. He's gonna just be like,
it's like he's waiting for bad news.
That's what it is. He's like waiting for all the bad news to be confirmed to him.
It's like he knows you're about to tell him that his dog got ran over.
He sees the collar in your hand.
He's like, "What's that?" Is that what I think it is?
Yeah, is it? Oh man, there's a few things that happen in this episode that I'm like not 100% sure on the order they happen. But
That's the thing about this show that's
yeah,
so hard.
I'm trying to like remember things in the way that they happen, not to account the plot, but just to get any grounding on when things happen.
If you want, I can keep going through the
Yeah,
notes,
I'm
and
curious what the next one is.
if it pops up what you're thinking of, then we can talk about it. So the next thing I've written down is we get a vision of. Well, actually, we just get the recording of Laura and Donna dancing again.
Mm-hmm.
For a little bit. This isn't what's the word for if it's in the media versus out of the media.
Diegetic versus something else.
Yeah, non-diegetic. It's this is non-diegetic in the sense that we're just randomly watching the recording of it straight to our screen. Nobody's watching it.
Mm-hmm.
This isn't like a camera pointed at it. Just the
Oh
rip.
yeah.
And right at the end, when it stops on Laura's face, and we get that like iconic shot of her smiling, there's a quick voiceover by her that's like echoing, and it goes, "Help me."
Help me.
And Mars was very confused by that.
Well, because the show's been very literal up to this point.
It's all been very diegetic, and the surreal stuff kind of makes somewhat sense, but here it's your first look into knowing that the show kind of messes with things a bit.
Well, it made me question like a lot of my like okay, when you see something, are you seeing a representation of something that happened, or am I actually seeing an event that's happening?
Like how much of the narrative is trustworthy.
Yeah, because as a viewer, the only person I can really trust in their perspective so far is Dale Cooper. Like he's the one keeping track of everything. But like everyone else has their own version of the truth in this show, and they're all like kind of fighting each other to like I don't know. Like it's like weird. Like everyone else is trying to preserve the way that things were in their mind. And it's so interesting watching them all kind of fuck it up. But Dale Cooper's like, I just want to know what's going on.
And I think that's what's so much fun about it is Dale's coming in from a complete outsider point of view, so he kind of sees everyone's both sides because he just seems like such a trustworthy guy, and most people don't really like.
Yeah, no one's really mean to
not
him.
not disappoint or be mean, but it's like he kind of lets people's guards go down a little bit.
He's a shark, you know. He comes in when you're all relaxed and he gets you.
I will say this: we actually missed a part, and I think it's a little worth talking about. I think we didn't talk about this because we blocked it out of our minds. Dale and Audrey. At the start of the episode.
Dale and Audrey.
You remember that? Audrey.
Okay, Audrey is like the rich girl, right?
The rich girl. She comes into the diner, or not diner, but like the dining area.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, she hits on Dale.
Oh, so hard. Like, literally throws herself at him.
Doing like
and Dale is kind of falling for it.
Yeah, she was literally doing like a boopy doopy doop boop sex. Like,
walking in like, wow. Anyway, how big's your penis?
Yeah, and then Dale was just like, kind of into it.
Yeah, he's finds her quite attractive. But the thing that is weird to me is I'm pretty sure Audrey's like a high schooler.
Yeah, I'm also pretty sure of that. So I was getting ick vibes.
I see her in the high school, and I don't know what it is about the show
and you know what?
Like that perpetuating that.
I can hear somebody be like, oh, she's 18. She's still in high school. It's super weird. Super duper weird. Dale's like 30, you know?
I think he's actually like 20 something.
Bullshit, he's 20 something.
He's 20 something.
Oh, he's 21. Oh, I'm Dale Cooper.
Yeah, I think he could be, you know, more like you don't have to be 30 to join the FBI.
Sure, but like being an agent with your own secretary out on the road, be some 20-year-old.
Could be really good, really quick at his job.
Oh, dude, if I was Diane, I'd be pissed. Working for some 20-year-old.
Maybe she's even younger.
Or not.
She's 19.
It's run by the people that would be staffing a McDonald's are the same age as the FBI.
Guys, we like totally got a bogus case.
Guys, like, We gotta investigate this stuff. It's like bad.
It's like a big downer.
Oh man. I lost the paperwork that said who killed JFK, guys. We gotta. All right, everybody, let's go look for it.
No.
I was showing Ricky, and I dropped it. Oh,
But yeah, that plot line is a little weird. I thought we should just touch on it real quick because it just
super
hit me.
weird. I don't know where that's going.
Next I have is Nadine's drapes.
Yeah, she's.
So
It's,
is this? I'm sure this is referring to when she meets up with Norma.
yeah, they're in the grocery store, and she's buying cotton balls. Nadine is.
Yeah, Nadine's getting cotton balls so she can make a silent drape and runs into Norma, who is for the reminder, Norma is fucking Ed, and
And I think
Nadine
word
doesn't
is
know.
got out. Wait, I thought word got out.
No, not really. No.
Oh, okay. Because I read that scene as Ed, that she's aware that Nadine is aware that Ed is like maybe getting frisky with this lady, and I thought it either was confirmed because they got caught and arrested most likely, or like were involved with some police business at the bar, or
Ed was caught by Harry. Like Harry knows that Ed and Norma met up there, but Nadine does not know.
okay, I thought Nadine was like being mean to her because she was like, I know you've been around my husband, you slut, but he's mine, and my drapes will be quiet.
I don't. Does she say anything about Ed? Because I really just thought she was being crazy, and then was like, and then started talking about her drapes.
I she's always talking about her drapes. I got the vibe that maybe there has been some past incidents with those two,
Maybe.
and like maybe she just doesn't like her in general. That was the vibe I got.
I think it's more of just a Nadine thing, honestly.
Yeah,
Than,
who can tell?
the way I've always heard is that Nadine just doesn't like a lot of people.
She also loves her drapes. I did not realize that drapes being loud would be a problem.
Oh, they're a huge problem for Nadine.
You opened them for 2 seconds. Why? What does it matter?
Because you open them like maybe twice a day, if you think about it. Like once to open them and then once to close them.
She's trying to create a soundproof house.
I guess so. And
Pretty
also
suspect.
she's just not like probably mentally not well.
Oh yeah.
If I had to take a random stat.
You know what's funny? I always thought Nadine and Log Lady were the same person.
The sane people.
Yeah, which by the way, Log
They could
Lady
be.
gets a moment in this episode as well.
Oh yeah, doesn't Harry tell Cooper to ask the log lady or something?
Yeah, he's like, they're sitting at the place after having. By the way,
The cafe,
yeah,
the diner.
small funny scene before this where they're drinking coffee, but they.
Oh,
Do you want to do that one?
I have a note
Yeah,
for that.
well, yeah, we'll hold on the Log Lady thing, and I want to go to this real fast because this is also very funny.
So Harry and Cooper go to visit Pete.
The
He's
fisherman.
hanging out with yeah. People know who Pete is.
I didn't.
You just
So
don't
I
know
just
who it
remembered
is.
just now.
Her name's Catherine, right?
Yeah,
The
I think
business
so.
lady.
I think
can
so.
forget her name a little bit.
This is
It's
a Seattle
Catherine.
name.
Yeah, she's the Seattle bigwig whose like husband died, and she now is like a part of the business of the sawmill. But
Mhm.
Pete, the nice guy he is, offers to make Cooper and Harry some coffee while they talk with Catherine, and makes the coffee, comes back, drops it off for them, and then a while back later, while Harry and Cooper are gossiping and talking about Harry's relationship with
Yeah,
her.
Cooper spots. They're like sipping coffee the whole time, and then Cooper's like, "So, how long you two been together?" He's like, how can you tell?" And he's like, "Body language." And they're just sipping their coffee, having a little gossip.
Oh, they haven't sipped their coffee yet. They're just gossiping.
Or they have
And
not
then,
sipped yet. Okay.
then the second they pick it up, Pete comes running back in and he goes, "Wait a minute, fellas, don't drink that. You never would have believed it, but there was a fish in the percolator."
Percolator.
I am so obsessed with Pete. It's not even crazy. He's like one of my favorite characters. He's so fucking funny.
Pete Stan.
I just love that he's just there to say the weirdest shit. Like, there was a fish in
He's
the percolator.
I like that he's like finds the body in the first episode. So he's like a big deal, but he's also not a big deal. He's like just
Like
some
half
guy
there.
he's some guy who just keeps stumbling into all the events.
He's like literally if your grandpa was just there in Twin Peaks dealing with all this. And that's what I love about him is just the realism of him being like nice to everyone, being like, "Oh, Catherine, it's fine. Like, don't worry about it. Things will get better." And like that, and like, "Hey guys, you want some coffee?" And then meanwhile, all that's happening. His wife is cheating on him, and he doesn't
My
know.
God, yeah. That's also crazy. He's getting cheated. Poor bastard's getting cheated on. And
Cheated
not
on
even.
hard. Those old people are fucking.
Oh, dude, they got
They got frisky.
somebody's fetish leaked onto the screen that day.
Somebody's toes got sucked
Yeah,
on camera.
I think both, right?
I don't know.
It
He did kiss her feet.
Oh, he did more than kiss.
I don't think he sucked on him.
He definitely sucked. Look, I don't want to make this an argument that we have to have. He definitely sucked a little.
We're fighting. No, I'm pretty sure it was just a kiss. He just like reaches down, kisses him, like.
Yeah, he kissed it like he was drinking out of a straw, right? Like,
You know, we'll play it back. It's slow motion. This is where the clip segment comes in.
no.
We just showed that one shot. Everyone, look up at your screens right now.
It's like somehow we got like a zoomed in lens and you can like see like just every detail
An alternate 4K shot.
while we scanned the film. And it's my special features. This is David Lynch.
This is my special feature where you can see every toe suck in 4K.
She sucks he sucks her fucking toe. Can you believe?
That's her fucking toe.
Swearing David Lynch is my favorite David Lynch. All right, let's get over this. Anyway, they're cheating. It's gross and weird. Good for them, I guess.
Yeah, we
Bad
get
for them.
a long scene of them like fucking and talking about how they're going to take over Twin Peaks, and Pete and Catherine will never know. They're planning on, basically setting the place on fire.
Yeah, they want to like commit arson on the mill so they can get rid of it.
They want to bankrupt it.
Yeah, they're like, and honestly too, she's always pressuring everybody about the mill, like closing down and being an issue. But she's like, yeah, the mill at this rate, it's gonna take years for the mill to close. We're doing fine. Was basically the reveal is the mill is doing great actually, and Catherine's actually doing a pretty okay job running it, and it was totally okay because like she closed the mill the day in the episode before, and she gets like a ton of shit for it in this episode, like
for Laura's death.
Yeah, for Laura's death, and the other lady who's like cheating on her husband is like, it cost us like $87,000. That's what your little stunt cost. And then it's like, oh yeah, no, we're gonna be fine for like a decade.
Yeah, they're like, we could run out of that much every day for a while and we'll still be all right.
It's just like, oh, this bitch is evil.
So moving on from old people.
Sorry,
I know.
I just had not that part, but I just had a brain blast on motivations. We'll get on. We'll talk about this stuff.
No, this is the time to talk about what motivations.
Well, I just realized like there's another angle to this Laura Palmer thing. Because the mill closed down for that day and lost that much money, and she's kind of got it in the like she kind of makes this place fall apart, but also it would work against her interest though if she's dating the hotel guy to have that show up right when the Norwegian thing happened. I don't know. I'm like wondering if they had like a business angle to killing Laura Palmer.
I see. Your thought is that they somehow did that so that the sawmill would close down and she'd have a proper reason to be upset.
And then she could start undermining, like, I mean, killing a person seems like a lot. I don't know why Laura particularly. Maybe it was like they paid somebody to just like cause some trouble and it ended up like that. It got too big and they don't even know. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
So much we don't know. God, I wish they would
I
just
find
get to
that's
the
a very
point.
interesting angle. I don't think I've ever thought about that. Yeah, Lynch really needs to hurry the fuck up. I want to know who killed Laura Palmer.
Well, the more I think about it, the reason you haven't thought about it is because it doesn't have a lot of legs to stand on, but it is an angle.
Yeah, I like it though. I like the way that you're thinking about it.
Thank you. I like to stink.
There was actually a really funny story. A lot of people really were pressuring the creators to reveal the murder of the show to the point where Lynch was at an airport and he heard two people talking and like, oh, that murder mystery show. I wish they would just reveal it already. You ever heard that? I just think that's so funny.
If I was Lynch, I think it would be hilarious to just walk up to two people and just tell them the absolute truth about what you're thinking, but then be like, no one will ever believe you, and then just walk away.
The classic, isn't it Bill Murray who like takes on fries and is like, no one will ever believe you.
I can see him.
It's like that, but David, that's the David Lynch version, is telling someone the actual like truth and understanding to one of his movies, and then just being like, no one will ever believe you.
And then like Sasquatch, he walks back into the woods.
And that person's be like, no, guys, really, it's about the pudding industry, and just nobody listens.
I gotta look up Bill Murray stories now, but what happens next in your notes?
So next after this, we get a scene of Laura's mother with Donna. I think it doesn't really matter who it is. They kind of embrace, and Laura's mom, I think her name is Sarah, sees someone and starts screaming, and we get a shot of a man with long hair hiding behind a bed for like, it's like a 2-second shot before he cuts away.
Have we ever seen that man before, by the way?
No.
Okay. I thought
I want to know your thoughts on this shot.
Yeah,
because it comes out of nowhere.
She's sitting there on a couch, sitting sideways, looking at a photo of her daughter, right? And she's just kind of like moping and crying, and then she's like talking to this character Donna, and it's like going pretty okay. They're having a little conversation, and then hugging. Yeah, and then after they finish hugging, she looks at Donna's face, and it turns into Laura Palmer's face, and she screams and freaks out, and then she fucking brain blasts over to the like angle of somebody looking at the foot of a bed, and then through the like little bars at the foot of like an old bed, there's just a dude in a jean jacket with like long hair just looking up at you, and like and he's like not making any expressions, he's just looking, and then she just like screams and freaks out, and the
brutal scream too.
This is a, let me just say, this is a devastating scene. It's creepy, it's unsettling. However, I have unfortunately seen the Eric Andre show, and I'm like 90% sure that they reference that scene in the Eric Andre show for some reason when Tyler...
They do. They actually make Twin Peaks references in various interviews.
Well, that one in particular is funny because it's like, I saw the guy at the foot of the bed, and then instantly it flashed into my mind the, Tyler, your dad's here, and they point up the camera up to like into the rafters, and there's just a guy in the rafters in a jean jacket staring down at Tyler, the creator.
Yeah,
that was pretty good. So inadvertently, Twin Peaks was altered by Eric Andre in my mind.
Okay, so besides the Eric Andre stuff, what do you think of that?
I forgot about that. Well, besides the Eric Andre stuff, I thought it was really creepy, and I was very...
Who do you think that is?
I'm very confused. I imagine he's an out-of-towner, or maybe like... Because everybody knows each other, pretty much. I don't think there's anyone who doesn't know who someone is. So, like, I get the vibe that he's, like, a part of some underground thing that Palmer was in. That's my guess, is that he was somebody from a town over, or something weird.
Interesting theory. There is a plot point we haven't really been touching on, mainly just because there's not really anything entertaining to say about it. During this, I cannot remember her name. She's dating Bobby right now, or cheating with Bobby.
Is it Donna?
No, not Donna. It's she works at the diner.
Shelly.
Shelly.
Yeah, that's right.
There's a plot line with Shelly and Leo where Shelly finds a bloody t-shirt in Leo's clothing or laundry while she's cleaning and hides that shirt. And Leo finds out that the shirt's gone and is wondering where it is. And ends up that I'm not laughing because of this. This is just so serious and dark. You get a very unsettling like scene of him filling a sock with the soap, and basically it cuts like right as
he starts. But you know what's gonna happen.
Oh yeah, like it happens right as it cuts of him striking her, and it's just a really brutal scene to watch out of nowhere.
Every scene with him, I want it to end so bad. He's so unsettling and creepy, and
But
like
that's what I like kind of love about the show, though.
I just hate every time he's on screen, and it's just like, oh great, he's going like because she's obviously she's a very sweet, nice person. She works at the diner. She's just trying to get by, and they live in this like unfinished house, which is extra creepy because it's like a house that's mostly done except for a few rooms and like stuff in the back out in the yard. So like everything is under construction. You kind of get the vibe that maybe they like we're gonna build this house together and do a thing, but now it's unfinished, and that's where he like attacks her is in this unfinished room. So it gives this like serial killer vibe too, and the whole house is like not lit very well because I imagine there's not electrical everywhere. So it's like dark, and he's just so intense and creepy. Ugh.
But yeah, like, but the thing is too is why I said I like that is because this is like such a sitcom world like of characters, and the show really pushes these funny and lighthearted scenes with maybe like some of the most real shit that was like probably on TV at that time. Of you would get like a scene of James being all mopey, and then cut to like real abuse and stuff, and it's kind of like the show reminding you of like this happens, this is in the world, and as much as we want it to be like more consumable and more lighthearted, this is what it's actually like.
And that's what's so good about this show. That I was kind of surprised that I guess I really hadn't seen in a while, is when like you get that really unsettling like no, sometimes if somebody's like for example in like sometimes a movie will do this, like Guillermo del Toro does this sometimes, where someone will be trying to kill someone and they like stab him in the armpit, which is like kind of funny but like also kind of horrifying. Like it's like why would that happen, but that also would happen if somebody was like struggling and attacking someone else. And that's kind of how this show is. It's like yeah, no, somebody would like fart or like not that that happens, but like something hilarious would definitely happen around something just as serious because that's how the real world works. It's unpredictable and shit just happens.
Yeah. um so there's that. There's also
Yeah,
another
there's that.
reminder. Yeah, there's a scene after that. I forget how this comes up, but somebody mentions that Laura died 2 days ago from
Mhm.
this point of the episode, which is interesting because so much has happened in just 2 days. This is like the second episode, and it's like so much has affected the characters. If you think about it already, Ed and Norma's relationship are now become kind of like public a bit. Um, Bobby and his friend went to jail alongside James. There's now an FBI agent here. Like there's blood on Leo's clothes. Like all this crazy shit has happened in just 2 days.
Mhm. And it's
And that's just
intense.
like a fun little reminder because like sometimes I'm like, oh yeah, it's probably been like a week at this point or something. Nope, super short.
And you know what else too? It's crazy that like how much shit has been going on prior to the arrival, and I love how it's all entangling so fast. Like there's all these little plot lines that you kind of like are implied to have been happening for a hot minute, and then it's just like Laura's death caused all of these things to come up. Like somebody turned to stone over it.
Exactly. So after this, after that little part, we get a scene of Bobby at home at dinner with his family because he's let out from jail, and he's with his dad, Major Briggs, and his mom, who feel bad, but I don't remember her name because she doesn't talk too much.
No, she's very supportive.
Well, that's the thing. It's so funny because I don't think this scene came off as funny to you as it did for me,
It was a little unsettling, I'm not gonna lie.
which is funny to me because it is a little bit of intensity, and I won't lie. But so the thing with Major Briggs is he's a very military man, quite literally in a military uniform with like a short haircut, but he's very understanding and spiritual, which is not normal for these type of characters in shows. He's like sitting there being like, because most military men are like hard asses, like, hey, you listen to me or it's the highway. And Major Briggs is saying there like, no, Bobby, it's healthy to be rebellious, and at your age, I was too. And he's like going on this like long monologue about like like Bobby, I get it. You know what? I'm quite proud that you're standing against the man and like all this stuff
Yeah,
while he's in the military outfit at dinner.
it's like if some conservative, like if the because he speaks like in general soliloquies where it's like all these like he like is quoting like military officials and he's like kind of pontificating. He's not saying it like a hippie, but he's also being super supportive, like Dave is saying, and it's
incredibly
so incredible.
supportive.
But he's doing it as like a drill instructor. It's so bizarre.
Yeah, he's just sitting there like, Jamiroquai once said like all this stuff, like going on some shit. And meanwhile, Bobby just does not give a shit. He's like quite literally does not give a shit of how lucky he has it, and he pulls out a cigarette to just start smoking at dinner because he doesn't give a shit. And Major Briggs, he like smacks him across the face to get the cigarette out of his mouth because like it's super disrespectful. And he's like, you know what? I have my limits, but this is a little too far, Bobby.
You've pushed us too far.
You've pushed too far. Which honestly, again, Bobby is like a shithead, dude. So I don't really feel too bad for him.
Okay, so something about this scene that stuck out to me that I thought was kind of creepy is he does have these supportive parents, but they almost don't even really see him in this weird way. Like they understand that he's rebellious and stuff, but they don't like try to like hear him out at all, or like it's like they're being hollow about their like response. And the house is so dark and empty looking. It like I get the vibe that it's almost like he wasn't raised by anybody. Like his parents were so like they let him do whatever, and he just became this like lawless monster in response to that. And it's so weird. Like he makes me feel like he's gonna kill his parents or something.
It's quite interesting how much you've gathered just from the first meeting.
it's just
not
like
that
this,
any of that is true, by the way.
But the vibes for sure. I can just like
you've definitely felt a lot.
There's so much about this show that is like, ooh, like oh, it's like supposed to be pleasant, but there's like all the lights are off in the house for some reason. Like why?
Which I don't know. It's just that's the thing about the show I find interesting is where you found that to be kind of a more serious scene. I thought it was a really comedic scene. I just thought it was so fucking funny that this military guy is going on some random spiritual rant to his rebellious son because it's like such a 180 of how these scenes usually supposed to go.
And I'm over here like, oh, what kind of fucked up like Americana house did this kid grow up in?
And that's the thing about the show. I feel like kind of context is a little bit important too because of like this is another thing I didn't really mention, but it kind of hit me after we finished recording. So this show, you know how like a lot of shows these days will have a big mystery that like lots of episodes will work up towards, and maybe you won't even get it like Lost or Sopranos and stuff like that. This was like the first of its time in the sense of,
where it's like, oh sorry,
I was gonna just say maybe not like the first probably, but like the first really notable one where it's like the mystery continues after the episode. It's not all wrapped up within 30 minutes of however long the episode takes. And that's what really drove people, a lot of people nuts, was like they really wanted to know the answer so badly. And David Lynch, he doesn't like giving the answer. So to him, that was not as interesting. And it becomes really interesting later down the line with how they deal with that. But that is a big thing to know, is the context around this show and why certain episodes may come off, or like certain scenes may come off like funnier or darker, because in comparison to TV at that time, it feels quite different.
Yeah, it's the first time they do like, because I know syndication kind of wasn't, because that's kind of what that is, where the stories bleed right into the next one, and there's kind of not a lot of conclusion between episodes. And like I noticed that the 1990s were kind of when that started to become plausible. Like people had VCRs in their homes, so they could actually record stuff, and they didn't just have to hope they caught the episode on time and didn't miss something. because not to make it about Star Trek, but that's kind of like what happened to DS9 and why nobody really liked it is it didn't run in correct order most of the time. Um,
Oh yeah.
and I feel like this show got the benefit because this ran on a big network, right?
Oh, this show did terribly.
Really,
Oh
people
yeah,
talk about it so
terrible.
fondly. It did bad.
It's a oh yeah, it's a indie. It's like a cult classic
Wow.
because of that exact reasons that people wanted to know the answer, and a lot of stuff happened. It'd get played out of order and whatnot, and that's kind of the reason it got quit after season 2, which is not good. Like it was struggling. They had to basically David Lynch had to go on TV and basically beg people to write in so that they could get the last 2 episodes out, and the last 2 episodes were directed by David Lynch to try and get people's interest back into it.
Damn, I didn't even know it was that bad. Because like, I just knew Twin Peaks is existing and everybody liked it and there was merch of it in Hot Topic and shit. Like,
Not of it.
well, that's like, I got, in the
We hit it big.
2016, 2017, that's like the golden era for pop culture stuff going into a Hot Topic. Like, it's Supernatural and shit and Twin Peaks.
Well, that's also because Twin Peaks came back in 2017.
That's true. Man,
Because after years of it going off, people realized, man, no, that show was really good. We really missed out on something. And somehow enough tension was given, and Showtime gave Lynch enough money. Well, at first they didn't. They didn't give him enough money, and he wasn't interested, so he canceled that. And then he was like, and then like, we'll give you a good amount of money. He's like, okay, I'll do it.
see,
And
I'd be
became
curious. I'd be curious to hear a lot of the stories, the history of this show like taking off.
I'm doing a lot of I'm trying to be really careful with some of these
Oh, I see.
because I can give. That's the thing to people who have seen the show and know a lot. I too know a lot, and I'm cutting out stuff intentionally because I could reveal a lot depending on what I'm saying.
Yeah, post spoilers in the comments, please.
But yeah, it's interesting. Somehow it gained enough traction again, and then they got a third season. And I don't think there's really a plan to do another one, especially with the way the third season ends.
Actually, I had a friend. I don't know why. I mentioned this podcast to a friend, and he was like, he was begging to watch the third season with me. And I was like, dude, I haven't even gotten to that point yet, but I would be curious. Well, he wasn't begging. I don't want to be rude about my friend, but he was like, when you get to the third season, make sure I'm there. And I'm like, damn, is it that good? So, kind of curious now. I mean, this is natural word of mouth.
I want to watch that season with you.
I mean, I'm definitely gonna watch it with you, but I mean, I'd be curious to see now what that's gonna become, because like I don't know, I'm in this for the long haul. I think the show is fascinating, and I'm like so excited to like it's like fun when you find a new world to get involved in and like learn like, oh, what are the boundaries of this world, like what's this town like, and ooh, where are all the locations, and ooh, who are these people, and like you just get to have a little fun fleshing out a universe. And this show has definitely got me giddy. Like I've just wanted to just watch it like a normal person, but I have to stop myself.
You don't know how hard it's been for me not to like watch the show. It's to the point where I'm like, maybe if I just watch from season 2 or like season 3, because we won't be there for a while. And like, no, I want to experience it all again because it's all kind of a bit foggy in my mind. So it's kind of fun refresher to watch it alongside you.
I'm so curious to like what you forget at this point, because I forget stuff all the time, but you're more of like a steel trap in regards to the media you watch.
There's just so much that happens in these condensed episodes and so many characters. You remember a lot of certain things, but a lot of it is kind of not that important either, which is fine. That's completely okay. Like I don't need to know Peter's wife's name or the name of the fucking jock dude. They're like serving a purpose, and that's all. That's really what it's about. But how far are we into this episode? How long have we been recording?
We're hitting about 50 minutes.
Okay. I'm going to finish off the last note, and then we can just general chat, and then I can ask you the question at the end.
Sounds good.
So this next note is the end of the episode. It's the doctor who's listening to a recording of Laura.
Oh god, this is so weird.
It was very strange. The doctor, I cannot remember his name. I'd
Doc-
really need a list of all these names.
Dr. Psycho, because he's a psychologist.
Yeah, he has like 3D glasses,
Yeah, he's
a wine shirt.
he's the only reason I know this show was shot in the 90s.
That guy alone. But yeah, he listens to a recording that Laura made, where Laura reveals some info about her life, and like all the shit that she's kind of been into, and how things are kind of scary for her. And at the end, he opens up a coconut, and it's revealed he has another half of the heart piece.
Yeah.
And that's a very interesting ending.
And not only that, he's like listening to her. Like, I get the vibe that it's like a doctor patient thing where she recorded something about like something that's going on in her head that she's like struggling with, and he's the doctor he's her psychologist or whatever, because he says like, oh, I was Laura's doctor. But then it's like you get the biggest ick in the whole world when it's like, oh yeah, yeah, she was making like secret recordings for him, and then also he was like in love with her, and because he's like crying and like solemnly listening to this with his headphones on in his beach themed office.
He's literally sitting on a sun chair. And he didn't give those tapes to the cops either.
No, he was stood right in front of them and was like, can I look at the body? Which also, by the way, didn't he do the autopsy?
No, he didn't
No?
do the.
Okay.
I don't think he did.
Maybe that's why
I
he
just
wanted to see the
remember
body.
that at one point there was like a person who looked at her body, but that was someone else. But he specifically was like, "I heard Laura died. That's very sad." But he's like smiling while he says it.
He's a creep. He's a super creep. And I'm super.
He's very weird.
I'm definitely that would left like such a bad taste in my mouth. I mean, I want to know what's going on, but it left such a bad taste in my mouth when he's like when it's revealed that they had like a weird relationship. Ugh. Which makes me curious now. Is like, is he the one? Is he reading into it too much? Was it actually that way? We don't know.
Exactly. The show is very much showing it in a certain way, and it's very interesting to watch how a lot of these plot lines play out.
Yeah, like also, so okay, let me just put this in perspective. Okay, so from my perspective, Laura was probably selling cocaine and doing it. She was, because that's the other thing too. I think we learned in this episode. We didn't really touch on that, but we learned that the trucker guy who beats his wife, Leo, he also sells drugs and
to Bobby.
Yeah, to Bobby and his friend, and they sold it. But that 10,000 that was in Laura Palmer's safety deposit box in the last episode was half of that money, and so now they need to come up with $10,000 to give to Leo, or presumably Leo will rip them and turn them into pulp.
Yeah, we'll fucking kill them.
well, like the Doom guys' music will start playing, and there's no more of those two. But that's I'm just imagining Doom guy in Twin Peaks.
What a weird collab.
Agent Doom guy, we need you to go in and solve this murder.
He just goes in, starts killing anyone who gives him the eck.
He holds a recorder up to his mouth, but all you see is the captions of what he's saying. He's not actually talking.
It's like the fucking little prologue text that happens in Doom 1993, where it's just the text that pops up on screen. Diane.
Rip and tear.
No, he would say Daisy because that's the name of his pet bunny.
Daisy.
So now I'm just kind of opening it up to general discussion of the episode. What's been your thoughts so far? Not in terms of how much you like the show or anything, but just what do you expect from the show?
I expect it to confuse me going forward. I expect it to throw some sort of curveball at me. Especially because now that I know that anything's game, I'm just going to see, like, kind of what I'm waiting for is for the show to kind of lift up the hood or pull back the curtain, so to speak, and I get to see all the weird, surreal shit that's coming.
Pull back the curtain, I get it.
Oh yeah, there is a room that has a curtain in it, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Where's that room? I guess we'll find out. It's probably, like, in a fucking warehouse or some shit. Anyway, the
I
but
love when people know about that room but have no idea what it is.
you know what's funny? Mass Effect actually has a reference to that room where they have a bunch of strippers dancing in on a TV screen in that room. And Steph has a screen cap of it as her wallpaper on her computer.
That's amazing.
Steph's for the no, Steph, my girlfriend that I live with, but it's very funny. Anyway, so yeah, and also I want to say I think that I see. I want to say that Leo has done it in my mind. That's where my brain is at. Is I'm like sniffing around Leo now. Not that I'm trying to solve this every episode, but
Whoa, yeah, you gotta wait for me to ask the question.
oh, ask it.
Mars, who do you think killed Laura Palmer?
Oh, that's easy. Nadine. No,
She knows how to make silent drapes. She knows how to silently kill someone.
She killed. You know why she has new drapes, right? The other ones she used to strangle Laura.
There was blood on it.
Blood on the drapes.
I mean, Leo does have blood on his shirt. And that's
yeah, but he's also like a drug dealer. You could get blood on him from anything.
And Laura was into drugs.
It's true. And Leo had just come back. Oh, Leo came back into town early on the morning of the murder. And he wasn't supposed to be back yet. Interesting. But they can't.
Is that who you think it is now?
But my brain says it's too obvious. My brain says that's like episode 2 and we already know who did it. Come on.
Forget what your mind thinks. What does your gut think?
I mean, my gut says that. I mean, my gut
think like Cooper. Don't think with your head.
My gut says that multiple people killed her. To be honest, I think this was because you have 2 girls. Maybe Leo could do that by himself, but I imagine it was a group of people because she said that multiple men had had sex with Laura's body. So
I'm just imagining like one person greasing up the floor, another person putting roller skates on Laura, another person pushing her so she like flies down a hallway and then off a roof where they like put her through oil and feather her.
You just imagine some sort of Looney Tunes contraption.
Like, it's really like a group of people, and I'm imagining like everyone working together to kill Laura.
All right, guys, just like we practiced.
All right, everyone, 3, 2, 1.
Whee! Yeah, I get the vibe that there's somebody who's like not who they say they are. That's kind of the vibe this show gives me. Is like somebody is a serial killer and has got a really fucked up brain. And
so if you had to pick one person, let's just say it's one person right now, who do you think it is?
I can't nail it down to one person, but I can tell you it's anyone that was like.
Just try to pick one person. We're not going to be like at the end, we're like, oh, you were wrong, Mars. It's just for fun. Because right now, at the current point in the show, person I think, or at least who I thought did it, was the doctor.
I really think it's Leo.
You think Leo?
I think there's so much evidence supporting that it could be Leo.
That is true. There is a lot of evidence for it.
He came back into town the day of her murder. He had the jacket that was bloody. He, is unstable and insane. He deals drugs. She was involved in drugs. People are trying to figure out or cover up things, and all of those people are involved with, in some way, her either getting clean or getting, unclean, doing drugs. And, doing drugs. I don't know. I think it's Leo, and I think that I'm going to find out that I'm wrong because, it wasn't Leo, it was Goreflex, the ground dweller we haven't met yet or some shit. I don't know. I'm like waiting for things to get crazy. It's episode 2. I shouldn't know yet, but...
Exactly. And honestly, I don't think you will know for a long while.
Well,
and that's all right.
Knowing David Lynch, I'm going to see... I know Eraserhead Baby's going to be here. I know that... all the ghosts from Mulholland
Drive.
Yeah. Oh, the Mudman.
Mudman. Oh my god, the Mudman in Mulholland Drive. That show is scary.
Yeah, they're all going to be in this show, I can tell.
Did you know that was the first time ever seeing like a lesbian relationship in a movie?
What a crazy movie to start with.
I know. I was like young, and I was like, we were on vacation with my family. It was super late, and I shouldn't have been up. But we were all just sitting around watching TV, and like half the family was asleep. The other half was just watching TV, and Mulholland Drive was randomly on. I don't think anyone knew that was a David Lynch movie before it started getting really weird. And then they started getting busy, and I was like a kid. I was like, "Whoa, what? This is a thing?
They can do that?
They're doing it on TV." I think that was also the first time I'd seen nudity on TV either. So what a great mix!
Oh man. Oh, you just made me.
Thanks, David Lynch.
Thanks, David Lynch. I got to see
You
boobies
turned
with
me
you.
gay.
I think Starship Troopers were the first boobs I saw on TV.
Wow.
But anyway.
What two very different ways to see boobs?
Yeah, you saw it in like a traumatic, like tragic lesbian story, and I saw it in like a weird joke fascist movie where it's just so predictable.
All right. Well, any other general thoughts about Twin Peaks, or should we make a recording?
I'm excited for this next. Wait, do you make a recording? Oh yes,
What?
of course. Sorry, let me get the batteries for my. Oh my god, I burped.
Everyone, just turn off your mic or turn off your volume for a second.
I'm telling you now after it happened.
Yeah, go back
No.
and mute.
I have no thoughts now. I'm excited for the next episode. I'm excited to see what happens. I'm excited to see what those psychos are gonna do next.
Well, Mars, you know who we should tell? Start the music.
I know I'm doing it.
Okay.
Sorry, I gotta crank it.
Oh, it's okay. We should tell Diane. Would you like to make the report?
No, you should do it.
I kind of forgot what the thought is.
Oh, that's why.
Diane, these bitches are crazy.
Yeah, Diane, these bitches are crazy.